there, and welcome to the Couch Next Door, where a happy hour meets a therapy session. I'm your host, Candace Frazier, a licensed professional counselor. Each week, I'm honored to have a friend come sit on my couch, and we'll dive into an area of mental health that is impacting their world. We'll definitely laugh, probably cry, and maybe go on a rant or two, because we are all humans, full of emotions. Come hang out with us. We have a special group of friends today, one including my mom. We are talking to some golden girls today, all about how they have become friends later on in life. Although these ladies haven't known each other for a long amount of time, they have developed a fast and deep friendship, and they tell us that it's never too late to develop these kinds of connections. What an encouragement they are to all of us to not only aspire to get out and show up for each other in every stage of our life, but reminding us that no matter the season, we all still need community. Here's my conversation with the Golden Girls, Sheila, Donna, and Val. Welcome to the Couch Next Door. We've got our Golden Girl friendships talking today, and we've got Sheila and Donna and Val. And they have come to talk about what it's like to be friends later in life. And so why don't y'all go ahead and introduce one another, and let's get to know each of you. So who's starting? Sheila.
I'm going to introduce my dear friend, Donna Murphy. We three go to church together. We're all in a connect group together. So that was our initial introduction to one another. But Donna has such a big heart, and she is so caring for people. And I had a situation with my husband last year, and actually both of these ladies, I'm describing them both, but Donna would call me, I'm going to come. Oh, no, you don't need to come. Yes, I need to come. I kept insisting. No, don't come. I'm fine. Well, at about 11 o'clock at night, she shows up and sits with me until about 1 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. And so...
I had to tell.
You were somewhere, I think. Yeah, yeah. But both of these...
I would have been there with you, believe me.
You must have been out of town.
Yeah. But, you know, these two really did see me through that time. And we have just developed a connection that is just very precious, I think, to all three of us. We enjoy each other's company. We pray for each other. And it's so nice to know someone does that for you on a regular basis and someone you can talk to about anything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, so that's my friend Donna.
What's your favorite thing about Donna? Or what's a favorite memory of Donna?
Well, my favorite thing about Donna is that she really does spread herself pretty thin.
And you like that about her?
Well, I don't know if I like that about her, but I like her heart because she is so loving and giving, and I do appreciate that.
Okay. All right, Donna.
Okay, I'm going to introduce my friend Val.
Okay.
And Val and I met at church, Vacation Bible School, and her husband and met the rest of our Connect group, and we all just kind of became friends, and they became part of our group. I feel like we have kind of a connection because we both grew up in the Midwest, so we kind of have some similar thoughts and way we do things. And I think the thing I like about Val the most is her energy, her spontaneous laughter. She's always happy on the outside.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have come to know that sometimes I can see through that.
Yeah,
and but she is just always willing to help, always willing to jump in and do whatever anybody needs. And she's just a pleasure to be around. And we've been through some tough times together.
Sure, yeah.
And have always been there for each other and gotten to know each other's families a little bit. And so it's just been a great blessing to me to have her for a friend.
I love that. Okay. All right.
And I'm going to introduce Sheila. And when you first came to Connect Group,
and I saw you and Ken come in, and my husband radiated towards Ken because of the horses and wearing Wranglers.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Cowboy attire.
Yeah. And because my husband, that's all he ever wore was Wranglers too. And we just kind of, and you reminded me so much of my lifelong girlfriend that I left years ago back in Nebraska. And so that was kind of what drew me to you. What draws me to both of the women is they respect your confidences. You can share any confidence with them, and they're not judgy. And that's important when you get to be our age, because you've already been through trying to live up to everybody's expectations when you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. We're not going to say how old we are, but we've been there and done that.
Yeah.
And this is what I respect. I had a situation, and I called Sheila because Donna was busy spreading herself thin someplace. And I go, I need coffee. And we met at a coffee shop because I needed therapy. Now, we call it wine, W-I-N-E in women, but it's really W-H-I-N-E. And that's my group, and I love them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What's your favorite thing about Sheila?
Her ability, and I hugged her on this, she never lets you know what's really on the outside. You are the sweetest person, and I couldn't. God did not give me what he's giving you at this particular time.
I was a newbie into this group. I mean, Val and Donna had known each other a little longer. And so when we started to the church and joined that group, you just have people that you feel drawn to. But we really, three of us have a lot in connection. We all were working moms. Val and I both had businesses. Donna was in the banking industry. And so really most of our lives have been very similar paths. And I did not have any friends when I met these. I mean,
you had friends. But not these kind of friends.
No.
At all. No, I totally agree.
Acquaintances.
Yeah. Yes.
We all have loads of acquaintances.
Sure. Right.
But to say it's a friend, that's a special title.
Well, and we're not all from here. I mean, none of us have lived here for a long time.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think that's interesting. It makes it sounds like because y'all's lives, professionally were kind of similar, that was an easy connecting point, even at this stage of y'all's life. Yeah.
I found in quotes, my travels, and living in different places, people who move into a community are more open to gaining friendships than those who have lived there all their lives. They don't need friends. They've got their uncles and aunts and everything. And so they don't have room for you. People who move in are opened, and it's kind of fun because you get to choose that. You don't get stuck with Uncle George.
Well, you're actually looking for family.
Right.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So who wants to start with their rant?
I'm going to start.
Okay, let's go, Val.
My rant is the people who drive in the fast lane going 45 miles an hour.
They're going slow. They don't need to be in the fast lane.
But now God put this in my face. I was driving back. He always puts something in my face, believe me. So we were driving back from taking my 21-year-old granddaughter to Windstar to celebrate her birthday. And we're driving back on I-35 at close to Belton. And there was this car, and he was weaving funny, and the traffic was absolutely horrible on a Sunday afternoon. And anyway, he was just going all over the place, and I was trying to get around him, and I'd speed up, and then he'd speed up. And anyway, at one particular time, he pulled into the middle lane where I was and stopped.
Just stopped?
Stopped.
Oh my gosh.
And so I'm putting on my brakes. Please don't let that semi guide me in on all this. And I lost it. And I said all the nasty words that I've heard all my life. And my granddaughters, and I'm going, call 911, get him off the highway.
Yeah.
He's going to cause a wreck. So as we have the police on the line, and I'm saying, we live in Texas. Somebody's going to take a gun out and shoot him. My granddaughter is going, Grandma, they record all these conversations. So that's my rant. People who stop in the middle lane on I-35 on a Sunday afternoon really tick me off.
Yeah. So what happened to that person, that driver?
Well,
do you know?
Then he speeded up again, of course, and went over and he pulled off and he was going towards Killeen, and I just left him go.
Yeah.
They were asking us, well, what color shirt does he have?
Oh, for
on?
crying out loud.
I said, we gave you the license plate
no
number
Really?
because he would.
Really?
But my granddaughter was embarrassed because I said language. I said, none of us carry, okay, but we could have. That's my story. That's my rant.
Okay, love it.
We love her honesty.
Yeah.
She
So it's
always
good.
puts it all out there. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Donna and I are a little more reserved.
That's why they love me.
That's right.
You say all the things they're thinking.
That's true.
She is our official spokesperson.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm the Betty White of the group.
We can just say ditto.
Exactly.
So do y'all all agree with what Val said about drivers?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Only you don't carry either, do you?
No, it drives me crazy.
If it was recorded, it wouldn't have been my gun.
All right, Sheila.
Yeah, I really was struggling with rants. I'm sure I have quite a few, but I wasn't able to come up with any.
You have a lot of rants. There's none that you want to share on the podcast.
Well, I did have to censor a few because I knew you probably would
I
take
wouldn't
it
air
out.
it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So what I finally came up with was a few months ago, someone got my Social Security number.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And all of the headache that has caused me.
Yeah.
And this scamming is just, it's out of control. And it's affecting just about everyone. And what is so sad, well, there's a couple of things that are sad. First of all, if they're that smart, why don't you use it for good? And secondly, it has caused us as a society to be so cautious and so distrusting. Mm-hmm. It's hard to trust.
Oh, yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything has to be examined so closely. And so that's my rant. I just am so tired of people trying to take what's mine.
Okay, I have a question. What, with technology, scamming is much more prevalent, right? Like it's...
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But scamming as a whole is not a new thing. So, when you think about when you were in your 20s, 30s, whatever, what kind of scamming was happening? Can you think of any?
No.
Oh. Can you? Can y'all think of scamming that happened before
if
technology?
anybody has seen the show Killers of the Flower Moon,
Oh, I haven't watched it, but I've heard really good things.
It is scamming at the epitome of men's inhumanity to man.
Oh.
Totally. I was in shock. But that was back.
Yeah.
Anybody for their own good. And so watch.
Yeah.
I'm not promoting Leonardo DiCaprio or anything, but it's a good show. It's done in Pawhuska, Oklahoma, which I'm a fond person for Pioneer Woman.
Yeah.
I've been there. But it's about the Osage Indians and scamming.
Oh, okay.
At its epitome.
Yeah. Well, I guess we've always had dishonesty in the world.
Right. Right.
And you're right. I mean, regardless of what era, people were trying to take things from other people. you know, whether it was stealing from them or, you know, maybe an identity. You know, so I mean, there have always been ways to get around. You should have lots of
because you worked in the banking industry.
But we didn't have in the banking so much.
Yeah.
The one thing I think you said, there's so much of it, it's so widespread, it causes us to question more than we used to.
Yeah.
We had a conversation in our living room last night. Was somebody really throwing that game?
Oh.
So we question everything because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You mean we can't trust Facebook either?
I've been scammed on that too. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
You mean that wrinkle cream?
Yeah, right.
It gets rid of your cheeks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Are those little machines, or you can buy a mower for $100?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did that? It never showed.
Gosh.
We are all susceptible to it.
Yeah. You do have to. I mean, I just don't answer my phone because if I don't recognize the number, it's probably a scammer. Yeah. All right, Donna, did you think of any?
Well, I try to not rant.
Okay.
I did it for so long that about, 10 years ago, I decided, this is getting me nowhere.
No more ranting.
And my husband does enough for all of us. Oh. So I just, I'm just going to be okay with whatever. And
you're the rant listener. You're the rant receiver.
The rant listener, yes.
Okay, got it. What kind of rants does your husband go on the show?
Okay. The weather, the television, electronics in general,
the football game,
the traffic.
Yes, anything and everything. Okay, I can understand. You've had enough of ranting. You don't need to go on any on your own.
Right.
You listen to this.
Well, and I did enough of it the years I worked and carried on for everybody, and so
okay,
just
all right.
Okay.
Okay, scamming and driving. That's what we're ranting about today. Love it. Okay, so are you ready to jump into our conversation?
Sure.
I'm so excited. To have y'all. I think, and y'all kind of mentioned it, but we're gonna talk a little bit more about the origin of y'all's friendship. But what I think is, because Sheila is my mother, what I think is really cool and interesting about the three of you is that y'all haven't known each other for a long, long time, but it was a very fast, deep connection, right? And it's something that y'all have found later on in your life. And I think that's what makes it interesting. It's not, we've grown up together and we've known each other in business or whatever. Y'all, it's just been a couple of years that y'all have known each other and it's grown so deep and so fast. And I think it's something important that people hear, that no matter what season of life, no matter what your circumstances are, you can find deep, good friendships. And I think y'all are a testament to that. And so I'm excited to hear kind of how all that happened and what that's looked like for y'all. So, who wants to start with just I know y'all said the origin of the friendship is y'all go to church together, y'all did this connect group, but how did y'all get the wine and women thing going? Because I think that's where obviously. But I think that's where it got deep, right? That's where y'all really got to know each other. So tell me about that.
Okay. In September of 22, my husband was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And so 6 weeks later, of course, he passed, which I praise God every day that he didn't have to suffer longer than he did.
Yeah.
At which time, you have wonderful acquaintances and what can I do for you? What can I do for you?
Yeah, I'll bring you a casserole, right?
And you're being absolutely smothered. Sure. And I loved it. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But for some reason, these two who brought flowers instead of the casserole that I had 18 of, I just looked at him and I said, I wonder how many people are going to be here in 6 months. And I said, am I going to see you in 6 months? And they showed up. And I knew then I could trust them.
Yeah. Yeah. They were there for the long haul.
Yes, I pushed my hand away and I said, give me 6 months. I got to get all this stuff together. And they did. And I trusted them and I respect them. And they have held me up. Lots.
So the fact that they gave you space, but they were still there, that meant a lot to you during that time.
It truthfully
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
That they respected me and my feelings at that particular time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is what really, and we respect each other's feelings. We can rant. Sometimes he rant. Once. But you can respect the fact I'm not going to go tell Susie Smith, Is there a Susie Smith? I don't think so. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a mutual respect that I hadn't had in a long time of female friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's another thing. A lot of times when you're younger, females want to outdo the next one, and we just all accept each other for what we
competitiveness.
are.
Yeah.
So that's what brought them to me and me to respect and admire and appreciate them.
I think a lot of times in our age, we can become isolated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, if you have a spouse that has health issues or maybe he has his own life or whatever. So to me, this time, these are more precious friendships because it is a time, I think, in life that you really do need that person that you can share because we are sharing very similar things. And I don't know, it just, with Val and Dave and all that they went through, I just felt a need to reach out to her. And I think Donna and I discussed the fact that, people are there in the moment.
In the moment when it's all happening.
And then they aren't there.
Yeah.
And Donna and I discussed the fact we were determined that we were going to be there and we weren't going to let her do this on her own.
Yeah.
And that was the birth of Wine and Women.
Well, one reason
It was a reason to get out of the house,
Yeah.
which is very important because when my husband passed, I call it hermitaging, but I became a hermit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they said, let's do wine. And, it's a tough decision. The first time you go out by yourself when you've been with your husband for 100 years. It's only 60, but it's...
Might as well. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But, the first time you go by yourself. And so they said, well, let's do wine. And I thought, you can either stay in this house and feel sorry for yourself, or you can go have a glass of wine. Well, I found out I liked them really a lot. And the wine. And, that's how
Well, one reason why I was so determined about this was we had only lived in Georgetown, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And we had left Colorado where my best friend out there had lost her husband about 6 years before. And I went through that whole journey with her.
Yeah.
And I knew how hard it was. And I knew that somebody had to just stick by Val whether she liked it or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Bonnie was the same way. And I could just see that. And I just thought I would be that way. I know I would. And so that was kind of where my heart went. And then it just was a natural. I mean, God did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she has a big heart. She stood back and observed.
Yeah.
And that's what brought us to Wine and Women. It is.
So who came up with Wine and Women? The two of you?
I don't know.
I don't have it. You did. Because I don't have a membership to the Great Party.
Oh, God.
Okay.
You'll take it.
Well,
You're the mastermind.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
I think we just went there the first time because I did have the membership,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
it was
And
such
then it
a good
just-
time. We just
Y'all just kept doing it. Well, and that's the thing I love. Y'all, and it doesn't seem like it's the same day every week,
Oh,
but
it's
y'all,
not.
but it happens. every week.
Almost every
Pretty
week.
much, right? Yeah. It's very much part of y'all's routine on some level, it seems like. Yeah.
Well, that was something I had thought about as a rant. You have to be intentional, and you have to be willing to give of yourself, and particularly your time.
Oh, absolutely.
Because even though the three of us don't have jobs outside of our home,
y'all are very
all
busy.
busy.
Yeah.
I mean, I say all the time, who knew that I would be busier in retirement than I was when I worked? Some days I wish I had my business back. Anyway, it does have to be intentional. And I know there's been periods in my life where I wasn't intentional with time, you know. So it is precious. I think we all three look forward to it. And when we miss a week, we miss each other. We miss knowing what's going on in each other's lives.
Some of us travel a lot.
Yes. Not some of us. One of us. And we know who that is.
You know, I'm just blessed. That's all I can say. And
We're happy for her.
you know, it just, not that it fills my time, but I'm just blessed that I'm able to do it.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
I've met some ladies through traveling.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
First, going to Ireland by myself,
Wow.
flying by myself.
Look at you.
Yeah.
You weren't going to go to Wine with Women, but you're going to Ireland by yourself. Look at that. Oh,
See?
I love that.
And, you know, you walk in there and you think, okay, God, you got me this far. Let's see. First day I met, and she is very quiet. She reminds me a lot of Donna. She's an observer and wonderful friendship. And she lives in Florida. And then we met up with two others, or I met up with two others, and we've just bonded this friendship. And we're traveling all over the world. They like to travel, and I like to travel.
So you've got like a little travel group.
Yep.
Oh,
She
cool.
does.
Yeah.
And you've got to take trips with your daughter.
Oh, yeah. Well, my daughter, she filed for divorce the same week that her dad was diagnosed with cancer. So we both became single at the same time. And in that singleness, we both went through the hermiting and we both went through. So we are closer than we've ever been in our whole entire lives.
Yeah.
You know, as a teenager, she was normal.
Yeah.
Just saying. Okay.
Yeah.
And as I looked at you, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But so now when it's not her busy season, she goes, yeah, I'm going to travel. Her kids are on their own. One is a junior in college, and the other one is going to graduate in May with esthetician school. And so she has no responsibilities.
Right.
We just have these two dogs.
Oh, yeah, it's the dogs.
Yeah.
So it's the animals. Yeah.
Dalton is taking his mother to Italy on us, believe me.
For dog sitting.
Dog sitter.
Yes.
He's my dog sitter. And he goes, well, I'm saving this money to take my mom to Italy. I go, I hope she has a good time. Italy's really nice. But so we get to travel. And yes, I do travel a lot. You know, the day's going to come when I can't climb up into a bus.
Do it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What would y'all say is your favorite thing about your friendship?
It's easy.
What makes it easy, you think?
For some reason, we're just so compatible. I mean, if we disagree, it's not like you're wrong and I'm right. It's just like, well,
it's the mutual respect, like what Val was saying. Yeah. Okay.
Donna, I've told her this. I think she's the logic of the group. And so sometimes she'll say things that I don't say anything at the time, but I'll think about it later, you know. And sometimes I agree and sometimes I don't necessarily agree with it all. And I'll come back to her and say something, you know, like you said this and I've been thinking about that. And maybe this is why that happened, you know. So it's not disagreement per se, but, you know, we're all three individuals and we see things differently.
It's not argument.
No, it's not.
It could be
not
disagreement.
argumentative.
Different views.
Yeah.
But we still love each other. You know, it's not a problem.
Well, and like what you were saying, Donna, y'all are just compatible, so it feels easy. So if there is something that maybe y'all don't see eye to eye on, y'all have a foundation of that mutual respect and understanding that
And I can't
doesn't have to
imagine
be
we would ever
anything.
have a major thing that we would disagree about.
Yeah.
No, because our values, our morals, our beliefs
Are very similar. Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
Anything else that's y'all's favorite thing?
Well, Val was raised Catholic, went to Catholic school, raised Catholic. So she's introduced me to a few things that, like, when you lose something, what do we say?
Tony, look around. Something's lost and can't be found. That's St. Anthony, and he always finds it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, it's just things like that.
Yeah.
And it puts a smile on their
Well,
face.
y'all laugh a lot.
Oh,
y'all
we laugh a lot.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I appreciate that about our age, though. Maybe it's the laughter. I have a couple of other friends who've lost their spouses and this type of thing, and we have a different form of friendship.
Sure. Yeah.
We have just a different form. This is a fun friendship, and I wouldn't miss this for anything. And my other friendships, they take more care.
Yeah.
They take more loving. They take more appreciation of where they are right now. And so my wine and women is a laughter time.
Yeah.
We don't ever talk about anything that is so serious that it's going to be written down in history.
But if there is a problem, we can talk about it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But for the most part,
Our subject matter, it goes all around the world, honestly. I mean, we may be talking politics at one moment. We're talking about maybe someone in our family at another, all in one session,
Oh, yeah.
We
no
go
topics
from,
off limits.
we go from very personal to worldwide. We're very diverse.
But that's why I appreciate this friendship. Because it is, I can be who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy. I love that.
Yeah.
It is easy.
Just easy.
well, and there's a lot of people in our age group that really are not happy about much of anything.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? What's that about? Do you know? Can you enlighten us?
Well, a lot of times it's health.
Yes.
They don't feel good, and and sometimes we don't feel good, but you just put that behind you and just carry on, because if you go for that, then
you won't feel good.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people lose a spouse and they don't have friends that come.
Yeah, they're lonely. Yeah, for sure. The way that y'all talk about it reminds me very much of my friends from high school, in that we've kind of described ourselves of, we're here for a good time, right? Like, we're going to come to one another for a laugh or for a funny story, but we also know if there's something hard going on, we can talk about it.
Yes.
But it's almost like we know for sure somebody's going to be laughing and telling something crazy that's happening, And so I love that about y'all too, is that you're when you go to Wine with Women, it's going to be a good time. But if you're going through something hard, you can also talk about it.
And it doesn't always have to be wine. It can be coffee.
It can be anything.
Yeah, but wine's better.
Well, we kind of already talked about conflict. So it sounds like, y'all might have disagreements, but it's not anything that's really come to a conflict. Yeah. But it sounds like y'all can talk about those disagreements, and it's not anything that has to be hefty. Okay. What would y'all say something y'all have learned about friendship as a result of this friendship?
Well, what I know about friendship, this one included, it has to be intentional.
Yeah.
You have to work at it. And that's one thing about the three of us. If somebody doesn't invite, somebody else does.
Yeah. 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 Anything else?
I like the intentional part. Because it'd be easy to say, I don't need to do Wine and Women this week.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I've got more important things. Well, what's more important than having a really good friend?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think that's it right there. Y'all, the three of y'all also just prioritize this.
Well, and I think it is the fact that we do enjoy each other's company, because if we didn't, we would make excuses why we couldn't do it that way. Don't we all do that with certain things that come to us?
Sure.
We do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We can think of something else that may be in our minds more important than being with that person. And I just don't think we find that here. You know,
Yeah.
we all look forward to it. What was the question? I forgot what the question was.
Because we're laughing too much.
What's something you've learned about friendship as a result of this friendship?
Okay. It's never too late in life
Yeah.
to make those deep connections, and I think I said it already. You know, I think this is a time that it's important to have those friends, because we do have things in our life at this point that maybe we've never gone through before.
Yeah.
And we need someone
Right.
there, you know.
Well, and you need someone that also is, you know, somewhat in this stage of life too, that gets that. Because I, as your daughter in my 40s, am not going to totally understand that, and also don't have the capacity, you know, to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, I think that's important for people to know and hear. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anything else to add to that? The thing that I'm also observing, because I know my mom, and I know she's had a lot of friends over the years, and it was kind of like wherever we were at, you had these friends, but you also had some really core best friends. And it sounds like the two of y'all are pretty similar. Like y'all have had friendships. So it's like friends have always been important to the three of you independently. And so now, you know, maybe y'all don't have these same long-term friends in your circle right now, but you have found people to sort of stand in there.
I have a friend we've been best friends for 35 years. She lives in Michigan, and we talk at least once every day.
I love that. Yeah.
And and I just find that amazing.
I do too.
You know,
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
and I think that's
In fact, yesterday, maybe 30 or 40 times we texted.
yeah. I mean, that's just so cool
Yes.
that happens. So those are special friendships you hang on to.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you've already said about different seasons of life. Because when you were in school, that was my core group of
Right.
friends.
Yeah.
Were parents.
Yeah.
Like me, and we had a very close, tight group.
Yeah.
And loved all of them. But then when I moved away and came back, everything was very different.
Yeah.
And I really was at a loss, you know. So that's why I said I didn't really have any good friendships, you know.
When we were first married, we lived in the country at Gretna, Nebraska. And then we moved away for 27 years, and that was our adventure in life. And we came back to the same area. We had kept 10 acres, and we built a house and everything. You can never go back to those friendships, ever.
Yeah.
I invited them, all of my close friends that I had, and they had moved on. And so we just got new friends.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. I've not ever been really good about staying in contact.
I have to share with you. Yesterday I had a text from a friend of mine that we were invited to our first Italian Christmas in Cody, Wyoming in 1976. Okay. And we were without family, and they had moved from New Jersey, and they were without family. He was on a sabbatical. He was a teacher. And anyway, so this couple, and you're going to laugh, but they got us into reading the Bible and drinking wine. Hard to believe. Okay.
There's a theme here with the wine.
Anyway, so we would get together on Friday night, and we had kids the same age, and so the kids would all be watching TV. I mean, we watched The Passion, drinking wine and discussing it. These were just friends that were fantastic. We had them for a year and a half. And so anyway, she texted me yesterday, and she goes, Candace, her daughter, wants the chocolate cake recipe that we would always make for baby Jesus' birthday. It's a devil's food cake. So I'm going, oh my gosh, I haven't made it, since my husband died. It was his favorite, of course. But anyway, so I called my daughter and I said, do you have the recipe? And she goes, well, yeah, but Leonie makes it all the time. So anyway, now we're second generation, third generation. We're still enjoying the same devil's food cake.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
That's very cool.
Helen, her husband had passed away, and she met her next guy at the bar, and they went to church every day. I mean, they're just awesome friends, and we get together, and it's like we've never been apart.
Yeah.
And yet we are.
Yeah.
And we do have friends like that because I know my friend in Florida is going to listen to this episode. And if I do not mention her,
Yeah.
this is a friend that I knew in my 30s, and I moved away and lost contact with her probably in about 83, 84, and I found her in about 2015, I think. And I had searched for her, but they had moved places, and we had just lost each other's contacts. And I contacted her, and it was just like you. Picked up the phone, and it was like we saw each other the day before,
Yeah.
And so, there are people like that. I should not say I don't have any long-term friends.
No, I know you do.
She does.
Yeah.
She is very dear to me. So,
Yeah. Well, and that's what that's what I'm hearing in each of you is that friendship has always been important. Y'all have been intentional about friendships throughout your lifetime. And so that's probably part of the reason the three of y'all are so compatible, and it feels so easy because this is what y'all have done your whole lives.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of the three of y'all came together, and now y'all get to do it with one another.
Yeah, I do think that there are seasons of friendship. I mean,
I do too.
We've
Yes.
moved a lot.
Yeah.
And so I have not maintained contact with good friends. I mean,
Yeah.
we had friends in San Antonio for 20 years.
Yeah, right.
And we don't see each other anymore, but I think it's just a season. They move
Absolutely.
different
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah. Right.
And
Yeah. Do y'all think that's hard sometimes? Because I think that's something I hear a lot in the therapy room is I think sometimes we put expectations on season of life friends, and then when we lose them, it feels really, really hard. But I mean, what do y'all say about that? Because I mean, y'all have probably had multiple season of life friends over the years. Is that hard to let them go? Or is it just a matter of kind of reframing your expectations? Or what's that like?
Well,
I think go ahead.
I think you kind of question yourself a little bit. Like, did I give enough effort into this? What caused this friendship to disintegrate?
Yeah.
And you reach out and you don't feel the warmth
The same.
So then you just keep going away.
Yeah.
That's my
like progressively. Yeah.
Well, you kind of have lost that commonality, and like Val said, it's hard to go back. It's
Sometimes,
just not the same. If you've been away, they've made new friends, or they have new priorities in their life, and so it can be.
so you mentioned you have friends from high school. I have a niece that is your age and the same thing. I had no friends in high school. And I left home at 18 without friends. So for the longest time, I didn't have any friends people that I really thought was a friend. So the first time I ever experienced that, it was like, well, this is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Well, then we moved. So then I started over before, I can start over now. So every move we've made, I've left people behind. And it wasn't hard for me to start over again because I had experienced that so many times.
Yeah.
Where in your case, where you've had these friends for so long, if you were to lose contact with all of them now, it would be very difficult.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and that's what's interesting. I think we've all thought at one point, this little group of girls, that maybe we wouldn't be friends forever because we are very different and we all scattered. And it's just probably been in the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years, we've talk every day, I mean, it's sort of a reconnection. And I think because we realized, we did have something really special and we missed it and we didn't even know we missed it. But yeah, like you're saying, I mean, if you've had a season of life friend and whatever the season has changed, I think what you're saying too is like, just do what you did before.
Yeah,
You can find friends. You've done this before.
Right. Put yourself out
Put
there.
yourself out there. Yeah. That's good. Okay. So on that note, so anybody that's listening, maybe they're in the same season of life as the three of you and they're feeling isolated. They're feeling alone. They want something like this, or even people in my generation, right? Like I think about, I would love this. Like, am I going to have this when I'm in this stage of life? What is the advice that you would give to somebody listening that would say, man, I really want that. I really hope I have that when I get to be in that stage of life? What would your advice be?
I think you got to put yourself out there.
But what does that mean? When you say that, what would that mean? How did you put yourself out there?
Well, do you think, I mean, when you were talking about people that don't have friends, that makes me sad. Mm-hmm. And I've been there and felt very alone, mm-hmm. and I was sad. Mm-hmm. But I say put yourself out there. I guess you have to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you have to get out of the house.
Right.
Yeah.
Go.
Yes, if somebody invites you,
join.
Go. Right.
Yeah.
Go to a women's group. Go to church.
Yeah.
Walk down the street. You'll be surprised how many other people are lonely walking down the street. Give them eye contact and say, how's your day going today? Mm-hmm. And if they want a friend, they're going to just, wow, okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You have to get out of the house.
You have to get
That's good.
You do. Well, and my friend in Florida just lost her spouse. And so those are things that I'm encouraging her to do because she's been such a caretaker for so long. Mm-hmm. She told me.
Yeah.
I don't know who I am.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so, I've encouraged her to join a women's group. Go ride your bike. You haven't done that for years and you loved it. Mm-hmm. I mean, just things like that.
Go to
like
the
I
rec
said, you got to put
center.
yourself out there.
The gym. Go.
Yeah.
And don't be discouraged if the first person you meet isn't your best friend.
That's good.
Or even if you don't really like them, try it again.
Right. Yeah. It's okay if you don't like them.
It is okay if you don't like them.
You don't have to like everybody.
Yeah, but don't be discouraged and say, oh, there's nobody out there that understands me.
I'm not doing it again. I put myself out there and it's over.
One thing you have to do is, I'm not coming to you for you to be my friend. Mm-hmm. I'm coming to you for me to be your friend. Find out about that person.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And what there are things about them that you would like.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and that sort of shapes the expectation, right? If you're going in looking, well, you have to be my friend, that's a lot of pressure on that person that they don't even know that they're signing up for. Right? But if you go in and say, I want to be a good friend to this person and let's just see what happens, that's an area of vulnerability, right? You're being vulnerable because you're offering yourself to that person. That's really good. Okay.
And at our stage, we've been there, done that, been hurt, lost out, and one of you.
Yeah. Well, and like what you said earlier, Val, I think we spend a lot of our earlier years worrying so much about what other people think. You just got to stop, right? Like, I think if that is too much, it's taking up too much space, then you can't be vulnerable, right? Because you're so worried about protecting whoever or whatever these other people think you are, their perception of you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So vulnerability, get out of the house, be a good friend, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Well, maybe expectations too. Sometimes you can have different levels of friends.
Yes.
As Val talked about. And so maybe the expectations that one person is going to be everything.
Yeah.
Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, So sometimes we set ourselves up for failure in that and we get disappointed.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a lot of different types of friends. As you said, I'm thinking I have friends that I'm like their big sister. Mm-hmm. I have friends that are just acquaintances or we're just, we're nice to each other, but we're not friends.
Right.
And so there's just a lot of different...
Yeah, and in whatever stage of life you're in, getting out of the house is the first thing. But then you meet other people and you go, oh, I never knew that you liked blah, 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 you know, and, you know, I might want to try that.
Yeah.
You know, I've tried painting. I'm not a painter. But, you know.
Yes.
But
that's being vulnerable, too. Trying something that you haven't tried before.
Yes, yeah. And they go, oh, don't you want to do boards and wine? I go, no, I don't.
I just want the wine.
Yeah. But, you know, you have to be vulnerable. Yeah. And then.
And versatile. I mean, you have to have a wide range of ideas, thoughts, needs about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, not rigid.
Yes, that's good.
Rigid.
Well, I'm even thinking in this stage of life, it would be really easy to be rigid and not want to try new things, right? Oh, I tried that before. I wasn't good at it. I'm not doing that again. I can see myself doing that.
The reason I cherish this friendship so much, both of these ladies know a ton of people.
Okay.
You both know lots and lots of people, but they find it important to be with me once a week. That's special.
That is precious.
Well, that's special.
I love that.
Well, I love you.
Well, I think
Mutual admiration.
Ditto.
Well, and if I can speak to that, I think that is very precious to you because I don't think you've had that in your lifetime where other people prioritized you. You were usually the one prioritizing them, but you didn't get that reciprocity. Yeah.
And you are talking to your mother.
I am talking to my mother. So I was in front row observer. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what have y'all learned? Like if you could speak to your younger self about friendship based on what you know now, what would you say to her? What would you want her to know that maybe she didn't know as a younger person?
Well, believe it or not, I was pretty shy. But I had friends growing up. I had close friends growing up. I'm kind of like Donna when she talked about her high school friends. I mean, I think what you have, Candace, with your girls is just real special. I think that's really neat. I lost my best friend from high school several years ago, and actually, when I think back, there's been about 3 that I was close to that I have lost all of them, and I don't really have a desire to. I know you've never been back to a high school reunion, have you? Yeah, and I have no desire now to do that. But through the years, I think confidence comes. And at some point, and really probably later in life, you begin to accept yourself. And it helps when you have friends that accept you as you are. And so sometimes you look back and you see things in your life and you were like, I really was okay. I just didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah.
Or, they really were a good friend. But maybe I had different expectations of a friend.
Or maybe you didn't feel good about yourself, so it was even hard to see.
I think you have to be open. And,
well, it sounds like you would tell your younger self, like, you're good. You're good enough. Like, you're...
Yeah.
Right?
That would be it.
Yeah. You're good enough. You're good enough.
Never thought I was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Okay. What about the two of you?
Wow. I don't know what I'd tell my younger self.
Well, I don't either because I was probably 30 before I ever felt like I had a true friend. And I think it was just life. I mean, I had a baby, full-time job, husband that worked and going to school, and there was not time for
you were busy.
Friends. Yeah. So by the time I finally got to where I could have a friend, I don't think it was hard for me to figure that out. When I finally took the time So maybe make time.
Well, I was going to say, do you feel like you missed out a little bit? Like, because you were so busy that you didn't have
I'm
friends?
sure I did.
Yeah.
I just didn't know it.
You just didn't know it until you
Yeah.
had a friend.
Yeah.
So you would tell yourself, make some time. Okay, I like that. What about you, Val?
You know,
Would you tell your younger self to start drinking wine sooner than later?
you know,
She probably did.
I waited till I was 21 before I had my first drink. I'm just telling you. Sharon, the one that you remind me of, and we were the designated drivers all through high
Oh, that's
school.
right. Yes, you've told us
Okay,
that.
all right. So we were the goody two shoes, and I didn't start drinking wine, but I made up for it after that. Yeah. I've just been blessed. You know, when I worked and had babies and stuff, and then I stayed home and had my own business, and but I would always make time for my friends, and so we would get Jack LaLaney. If you ever remember, my friend Marie and Linda, and we would get together, and our kids would be playing, and we would be exercising, and drinking coffee. But once a week, we made. So I'm used to. I'm used to that, and I am so glad I did it because I was the 20-year-old bride that moved out to the country that was going to try to be the perfect wife, the perfect mother, perfect everything, you know. And I met these
I'm still
ladies.
working on that.
Yeah, these ladies who weren't perfect either, but we got together and once a week, and I just appreciate.
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that I guess I had the confidence to reach out.
Yeah.
You know? And I've done that wherever I go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, you go through a dry period, but then it flourishes into a beautiful garden.
I think you hit what I meant was having the confidence to reach out.
Yeah.
And sometimes we've got to look at how people see us rather than how we see ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. Okay. So my last question, I feel like I know the answer, but I want us to expand on it. I mean, what do y'all do to take care of your friendship well? I mean, y'all have wine with women, and y'all prioritize that, and y'all are intentional about that, and y'all do that often. But is there anything else? What else do y'all do to take care of your friendship well?
Well, we text each other quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we pray
We
for
stay
each
in
other.
contact. We
Truthfully,
pray.
Yes.
truthfully, I wake up in the morning and I thank God for both of you because I thank Him for a lot of things, but you know, that in particular.
Yeah.
Because it would be lonely if I didn't have this to look forward, wine and women to look forward to.
Yeah.
I think we recognize as well that we were put together
For a reason.
for a reason, and we give God the glory for that. We acknowledge Him and believe and know that that's why the three of us are friends. There was purpose in it, and it's been a great thing for me. You know.
Okay. Anything else to add? Anything that we didn't cover that y'all wanted to cover?
Well, I think again it goes back to giving yourself, giving time to one another. That's how we nurture. It's not just the once a week, like Donna said. We text each other throughout the week. We check on each other. If we know something's going on with one of us, we will check in and how's it going? Is there something else we can, help with? So,
Well, and I think that's how it got deep so quick too, right? I mean, if y'all were only seeing each other once a week, it wouldn't do that. But that was almost like the gateway for it to be deeper and for there to be checkpoints.
And we have shared. I mean, Donna has shared about her upbringing. Val has shared about her upbringing. So even though we weren't part of their lives at that time, it has given us insight as to who we are today. And I don't know. It's a precious bond.
I think that's another thing about starting a friendship is finding out about that person's past.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that is important.
Where are you from? I mean, internally, where are you from? And
Yeah, because y'all haven't had the advantage of growing up together to know where you were, what your family life was like, but to be vulnerable enough to share those parts of yourself, I think that does help for it to be a deeper friendship. And I don't think everybody is always willing to do that. Yeah. For whatever reason, for probably lots of reasons, but I think that I'm sure that's got to be a part that makes it so special with the three of you is that y'all were willing to share that. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming and sharing all of the things. I think it's a lot. There was a lot of wisdom here. There was a lot of encouragement. There was a lot of laughter. Okay.
Gotta have that.
We have to have that. We have to have that. But I appreciate it. And I think as people listen to this, there's things that they can do now to be encouraged in friendship, whatever the season is. But most of all, what I want them to hear is what y'all said is this stage of life can be very isolating and very lonely. And so just kind of holding on to these nuggets that y'all mentioned for whenever that time of their life comes, when maybe they feel some sort of isolation and loneliness, regardless of the season. Y'all gave them some good advice. Y'all gave them some real encouragement of what to do. And I think y'all's voices are unique in that because of your experiences. So thank you. What a fun group, right? There are so many things that struck me in this conversation. The fact that each of these ladies had so much in common earlier on in their lives before they even knew each other, and they were able to find each other in this season is so remarkable. I can see that because friendship has been important to each of them respectfully throughout their lives, that's one of the driving forces that have allowed them to form such a deep connection over a short amount of time with one another. Something I heard them all say throughout the conversation was that prioritizing friendship is important in every stage, but especially later on in your life. They admitted that there's a lot that can get in the way of finding connections during retirement, but getting out and showing up for others can be helpful to our own mental health. There's something special about this time in life. People are experiencing a lot of transitions, losses, and this time can create some loneliness. Like the ladies were saying, this can cause people to isolate and just get kind of grumpy. There also can be a belief that maybe it's too late to find these kinds of friends. Nope, never. It's never too late. But you may have to stretch yourself and be vulnerable to put yourself out there in order to fight against isolation. They encourage us to remember that you've made friends before, so you can do it again. Just keep trying. So with these Golden Girls, they provided a lot of wisdom during this stage of life. And something that I've noticed in other conversations within the friendship season is recognizing when a season of life friendship ends. And sometimes that can be really difficult to accept. But also, I think it can be really healing to be able to define a friendship as a season of life friend so that you can have expectations and find healing so that you can move forward and not letting that end of a friendship deter you from reaching out and making friends going forward. Sometimes a season of life friend is all that it is, and it served a purpose for that time. So let's be sure to just take these words of wisdom from these women today. It's never too late to find connection. Get out there, show up, and let's find community. The information included in this podcast does not replace that of your own professional therapy. If you believe you are in need of professional assistance, please reach out to the medical community in your area. The Couch Next Door with Candace Frazier was created by me, Candace Frazier. Graphics by Jason Frazier. Music by Josh Bissell. You can find the show notes and affiliate links on CandaceFrazierLPC.com. Click on the tab Podcast and you'll find all podcast-related content there. I'd love to connect with you on Instagram. Find me at Candace Frazier LPC. Give the show a rating or review wherever you listen to podcasts. This really helps get the show to more listeners in the world, and I would be so grateful to see what you all are loving. Until next time, show kindness to yourself and those around you.